A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguela. No modern economy has developed without a strong industrial base, and Nigeria is not likely to be different. Micro, small and medium enterprises have undoubtedly played a significant role in shaping the landscape of small businesses in Nigeria. Now, records show more than 40 million MSMEs are employing about 80% of the population and contributing about 50% of the country's gross domestic product, and they serve as the backbone of our economic structure. Experts say the wheels of the Nigerian economy are kept running by the dynamism of micro, small and medium enterprises. And the present administration recognizes this, which is why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is demonstrating unwavering commitment with renewed hope, vigor towards improving job security by harnessing the critical role of MSMEs for economic stimulation. Now, the federal government has also announced plans to formalize 1 million businesses across the country at a discounted rate. The goal is to create a thriving MSMEs ecosystem. However, entrepreneurship education is required for the sustainability and efficiency of micro, small and medium development in the country to enable small business owners leverage the endless possibilities available at their disposals. We want to look at ways to close the gaps by addressing some of the challenges MSMEs face, just as their prospects for small enterprises, which we will be delving into shortly. And our focus on Platform today is MSMEs and job creation. And our guest is the man who is at the helm of affairs for the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, SMEDAN. I'm talking about Mr. Charles Odi, Director General. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations on your appointment. This is a demonstration of the administration showing that young people can deliver. It's some months old now, right? But it's still fresh.
Yes, about 3 months old. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so quickly, as you know, part of our tradition here on Platform, we'll tell you who our guest is by reading out their profile. So Mr. Charles Odi is a global enterprise development consultant, an author, entrepreneurship development expert, and small business advocate. Charles holds a master's degree in media communications, specializing in marketing and communications from the Pan-Atlantic University, where he also enrolled for a doctoral degree. He obtained a bachelor's degree in management and information systems from Covenant University. Charles founded SME 100 Africa, that was in 2015, and sits on the Global Advisory Board and has been part of the team that successfully implemented several SME development projects, some of which include 100 Talks, that's a radio and web-based entrepreneurship news platform, the National Small Business Summit, Nigeria's Youth Entrepreneurship Leadership Awards. It's an annual event that recognizes highly innovative entrepreneurs under the age of 25. Charles is an alumnus of the U.S. State Department International Visitor Leadership Program on Global Business Development. He is also a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, and Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Charles is a certified business development service provider, a certified Microsoft Enterprise Software Advisor, mentor for the United States Young African Leaders Initiative, and entrepreneurial coach. Well done, Mr. Charles. Well done. All right, our panelist is one of our own business correspondent, Moplank Dakok. Moplank, thank you so much for choosing to be part of Platform today.
My pleasure to be here, Ruth.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Wood, now, on assumption of office, I recall you pledged to eliminate all the barriers inhibiting MSMEs, small businesses in Nigeria. And you actually hit the ground running when you started based on your background, where you're coming from, because you've been doing your own stuff before now. By the way, highly commendable for that.
Thank you.
So now, looking at the picture and being at the helm of affairs at a federal level, this is Nigeria, where we're having more than 200 million population with a lot of young people who are vibrant. Now, if you want to look at the entrepreneurial space in Nigeria, especially for small business holders, what's your perception about it?
So if we just take a look at again, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Boplan and Ruth.
Thank you.
If we take a look at the MSME landscape in Nigeria, you see that we have approximately 40 million of them, and these 40 million small businesses, like you've said in your introduction, contribute to 50% of our GDP, employing about 60 million people, and also are gladly responsible for many of our industrial jobs. So that statistics itself can just give you a deep dive into what the SME ecosystem in Nigeria is. And then for us at SMEDAN, well, the new SMEDAN, one of the things that we're doing is working with data, and so we're using data to make informed decisions as to what it is that the problems are and what problems we need to be solving. Also, if you take a panoramic swoop of that data, it also shows you that our manufacturing output is low, as well as our exports is quite low. So what we're doing is actively looking to address those problems head on, and then also making sure that all the small businesses need to start, run, and thrive in their enterprises in Nigeria are all taken care of with the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria.
Yeah, I like the fact you mentioned the manufacturing space is low, but if I recall at the launch or rather commissioning of the headquarters of SMEDAN, there are sections, hubs, for small businesses to thrive, more like training sections there from what we gathered from the reports. What is the whole motive behind that? Now, you are here new and you're bringing the young vibrancy into the system, and you're an entrepreneur, so you understand how it works. Now, if you want to, I'm glad you said you're already collating data, which is very important, so you're streamlined. But let's look at, some of those challenges you've already marked out that you want to tackle headlong.
Okay. So when we on resumption of office, we had data that shows that we lost about 2 million small businesses. So ideally, the statistics are about 41 million. So we lost approximately 3 million, so it's about 39 million. Even though one of the things that we want to begin to do is organize our data. We say we have 40 million approximately small businesses. Where are these small businesses? Where do they reside? What do they do? What pain point are they faced with? When we have this data, then we can start to make concerted interventions for the small businesses across Nigeria. But so if you spool that data, it also shows you that there are factors why we lost these businesses, and they border on global competitiveness, environmental factor, fraud, ease of doing business, and it's like, so what we've begun to do is address these things head on. So in terms of environmental factors like floods, we've launched a climate and green energy desk at SMEDAN, and what we're doing is we're training small businesses on solar and renewable energy, but also helping them to think about sustainability. We want them to start to conserve power. We want them to start to think about the planet while they carry out their business activities. In terms of things like ease of doing business, one of the things that we did was, we took this information to the presidency, and again, I thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for not paying lip service to this. If we say small businesses are the engine room of any serious economy, then we need to give them the support that they need. So we went to the presidency, and His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, launched the National Council of MSMES.
Yes.
So this National Council of SMEs, which was launched on the 1st of December 2023, has one job: to ease doing business across Nigeria. So at the national level, the Vice President is the chairperson. I'm the Secretary of the National Council of SMEs, but cascading to the different states, the state governors are the chairpersons of this National Council of SMEs, and SMEDAN offices across Nigeria are the secretariat. What we want to do is set up one-stop shops. So we have in those secretariats and at the state levels, different other parastatals. So we have the Standard Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC, we have NEPC, we have CAC. So anyone who wants to get any information as to how to start a business and how to scale a business can get that information from all of our offices. And then this also helps to reduce the pains that many of these small businesses have.
Yeah.
That council is also going to advocate for many of those issues. And we've been getting many of them already. Double taxation, closure of some of the markets across the different states, because these are also contributed to the high mortality rates of these small businesses. So what we're doing is tackling some of these things head on, making sure that it's easy for anyone to start a business, making sure that it's easy for anyone to get any information that you need to scale a business and to grow your enterprises across Nigeria. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we're also genuinely interested in these small businesses, because we think that with the right amount of guidance, the right amount of resources, the right amount of opportunities, and the right amount of workforce support, anybody can start a business and scale and run their business comfortably across all the states in Nigeria. And so we're also appealing to the state governors to, in their different states, inaugurate this council of SMEs. Special thanks to the Sokoto state governor and the other governors that are, towing that part, to make sure that we can continue to have this council that's supporting small business growth and development across Nigeria.
Okay, very impressive. Muplan, I'm sure you want to pick up.
Yes, you talked about data, that you're already making available data. Well, let's talk about artificial intelligence. At the just concluded World Economic Forum, AI was top on the agenda. How do you see it, taking effect in Nigeria, considering that we have so many challenges, electricity, internet, we're not yet there, and so many other factors? Are we already making plans to key in fully?
100%. One of the things that we started to do is to train our small businesses on artificial intelligence. We think that many of the things that they go through, many of the things that they are focused on in their business can be solved with artificial intelligence. So we're training them, and then I can assure you that in the next few years we can see a high adoption of artificial intelligence. If you look at all the small businesses that exist in Nigeria, 50% of them are already adopting digital tools. About 40% of them are using digital payments to affect businesses. And it's the same thing we'd like to see with artificial intelligence. This is why we started to train them, and we are hoping that, as we continue to do this with education and information, they can latch onto this and then use it to better run businesses that can help to address a lot of problems that's supposed to solve.
But what type of, or who are the people who benefit from these trainings you're talking about? Because many youths out there think that they have to be connected
somewhere.
They have to know somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody to be able to, participate or, even enjoy some of those trainings. What
are they selected?
Yes.
So one of the things that I found out in my 3 months of being in government is that government is doing a lot of things, first of all, but the people are not aware. So there's this disconnect between what government is doing and the audience. And so that's why, platforms like the National Television Authority and other
Nigerian Television Authority. It's okay.
Nigerian Television Authority. I beg your pardon. And other media outfits like this are very important to help to cascade information that government is doing. And that's why I'm here today to share a lot of the things that we're doing, so that anyone can latch onto. And one of the president's mandates is the rule of law. So anybody, the son of a nobody, can actually just get this information and run with it without knowing anybody at the helms of our affairs in Nigeria. So our selection processes are very skewed towards that. We have our platform where we put on the internet, and anyone without knowing anyone can just go there and apply. Also, we also try to work with people who are closer to the people in the different grassroots. So people who they've elected to represent them, and then just basically our state offices. We're in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, and then we have state offices that engage with a lot of entrepreneurs. One of the things that we do is we engage with entrepreneurs in their communities and their clusters. So they have cooperatives, and so what we do is that we churn out a lot of information to those cooperatives, and anyone interested can be a part of it, and then can start their own journey to prosperity.
And aside from what she just shared, concerns about, who access this training, there's also the challenge of access to funding. I know SMEDAN is ready to fund MSMEs of 1 million, about 1 million thereabout. And not too long, just at the tail end of last year, the conditional grant scheme was also launched. Now, these are really quite good initiatives that will help a lot of small businesses to thrive. But having access to this credit facility is the gap we're talking about here. So what are you going to do differently? Because a lot of the small business owners need this money to fund their businesses.
So again, I thank His Excellency the President for, all the interventions he's made towards small businesses in the country. Towards the tail end of last year, he announced the Presidential Conditional Grant Scheme, which means that we're going to be giving 50,000 naira to nano businesses. These are businesses at the bottom of the pyramid who 50,000 naira would help a lot with their working capital or their cash flows. And then also he had announced that small and medium businesses can access loans from a little as 250,000 to $1 million naira, and then the bigger enterprises can get $1 billion naira at a single-digit interest rate. Now we understand that capital in Nigeria is very expensive, and also capital in Nigeria is very scarce. And so I say to small businesses, anywhere you see capital, go for it. But again, you have to be very careful so that capital doesn't drown.
I was going to say that.
So what we've done is we've signed a loan portfolio in addition to what the President has earmarked for small businesses across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. We've signed a loan portfolio of 5 billion naira. At this 5 billion naira, anyone in any subsector can access these funds at a single-digit interest rate and at zero collateral. So before now, it's harder for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle for a small business to access capital from the banks. When they want to access capital, they tell them to get landed properties, which many of them do not have anyways. They tell them to get senior people in civil service
as guarantors,
which many of them do not know anyways. So what we're doing is we are democratizing that. We want anyone to have access to this funds. And then so that's why that loan portfolio is being signed. And so anyone from all the 36 states can apply for it in any subsector.
Where do they apply for it?
So they can go to our website, www.smedan.gov.ng/sterling, SMEDAN sterling. Just click on it, and then they can just put in their subset of data. As soon as they put that in, they can almost immediately expect to get a message from us. Because one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we meticulously apply this funding. And we're doing it in 3 phases. So we have a wait list, and I think about approximately 200,000 young entrepreneurs, women, and seasoned entrepreneurs have applied for this. And so what we're doing is we're now categorizing that data, after which we're going to go through the disbursement and training phase. One of the things we don't want to do is just to give you money. We want to make sure that the money we give you will be meticulously used for what it is that you want it to be used for. And then afterwards, we start monitoring and evaluation phase. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to be able to use data to make informed decisions. So when we look at this kind of data, we can see the subsector in Nigeria that actually needs this funding. And so what we can then do is then, excluding giving them this kind of funding, now set up intervention programs that can help them based on needs assessment that we'll run. So if we go to a state, for instance, it's not enough to just give out money. When we get the people who are interested in the money, we want to make sure that we understand who they are. And then we use that data to know what kind of intervention to give them. So much so that those coming after them will easily access the data. So those are some of the things that we're doing. Also, we're signing a memorandum of understanding with the Bank of Industry, a 1 billion naira loan portfolio, again at a single-digit interest rate where small businesses can access. And then I think the other state governors who are also thinking about small businesses as the engine of their states. And so we've signed a memorandum of understanding with the former governor of Central Bank, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, in Anambra, for small businesses in Anambra to access this fund, to start businesses, to grow their businesses and scale their businesses. Doing the same thing in Enugu, about to do the same thing in Kaduna, about to do the same thing in Katsina. So with all of this intervention, I can categorically say that we are democratizing access to finance in Nigeria. So it might almost even become a thing of the past where small businesses will then go out and start looking for money, because there'll be money readily available to you if you know what you're doing and if you want to do good business in Nigeria.
Okay, let me just come in here. I know Muplang has a follow-up
Yes,
to that.
I
don't want this to skip my head.
Okay.
When you were reading all of this, the picture just came. You make it sound so seamless. I know you're working with state governors, which is very good. Of course, they are the ones who will relate to the local government levels, because we have, when we say nano businesses, we have the micro business owners. These are people who don't have access to the internet to get to your portal. Now, how are you going to regulate the process or monitor that the right people are the target beneficiaries? Because this is not the first time Nigerians will hear that there is access to credit facility in BOI or any other bank for that. And this is not the first time SMEDAN, has kicked off with this kind of initiative. But what are you going to do differently in terms of monitoring and evaluation to know that these are the right beneficiaries getting the monies?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So, in society only captures you when you are registered, right? So anyone, the woman at the corner in Okibi local government, for instance, who is making fried plantain or making granules, right? She might never have access to go to the internet, right? She might never have access to any government official to tell her this. But what we're doing and what we've designed is prosperity for everyone, from nano businesses to the medium businesses. So how will that woman meet us? There are 4 ways that she'll meet us. Either she meets a SMEDAN program, we have different programs at SMEDAN.
At the grassroots? At
the grassroots.
Okay.
We even have one thing that we borrowed from the Japanese. The Japanese have a program called One Village, One Product. We have one called One Local Government, One Product. Right? So we're in the 774 local government, and what we're doing is we're working with clusters, cooperatives, communities to harness raw materials that they can use for local consumption and then for exports.
Okay.
So if she doesn't meet a SMEDAN program, she will meet a SMEDAN employee, because we have certified business development service providers. We have SMEDAN employees in all these different states. If she doesn't meet a SMEDAN employee, she will meet SMEDAN, or she will meet prosperity or growth through one of our SMEDAN employees. I've said that. And then she can meet through one of our SMEDAN programs. So we have a half-hour, 30 minutes programs on TV and on radio. So she might not have time to watch TV, but she has the transistor radio which she listens to. Okay. And if she doesn't meet us there, she'll meet us through her cooperatives. So there are 4 distinct ways that she will meet us. And we've designed this prosperity for anyone. So it's like a moving trade. So as soon as you meet us, we can show you clearly how you can grow as a small nano business to a micro business, from a micro business to a small business, from a small business to a medium business. So we've designed this clearly. So and we are meticulous about this, right? So she might just be doing her thing, at the corner of the street somewhere in Okigwe local government or Okitikwa local government or Okistom. What happens is that she will meet prosperity, and she takes advantage of the information, she will grow. So the information might just be for her to submit the name of a business, an NIN, and she doesn't even need to have a bank account. We just need to know that she's a registered entity, a registered person in society. And as we get that information, then almost immediately she can start to get financing for growth.
Okay. Yes, so I was going to ask you a follow-up to what we're talking about, the issue of access to finance. So at the end of the day, when the young people have access to this finance, do they actually have the skill to handle the money that is being given to them? Because, so I want to ask you now, is it a problem of access to finance that we have among the young people, or is it a problem of skill, or is it both?
So I give you an instance. One time I was in Warri, training for one of the multinational organizations, and then I met someone who wanted to go into food business. And what he said was, I asked him, how much do you need? And he gave somewhere close to 100 million naira.
100 million?
100 million to start. Wow. And then I asked him, who is his target market? He said, well, there are about 200 million Nigerians in Nigeria. Everybody will eat food. And then by the time I sat him down and I let him know that, there are over 200 million Nigerians, doesn't mean that all 200 million Nigerians are your target market. And I sat him down and I explained to him how he can then get his target market and what he needs to start. By the time we're done with him, what he needed to start was somewhere less than 100 million. So, answering your question in short, when you get these people who have the need for financing. One of the things that we also do is to train them. And when we train them, we then disburse. And our training are in two bits. One are vocational skills, right? So someone who has a need to start a photography business might not even have the skill. So we train on how to handle the cameras, how to take good pictures, how to edit, how to then market your product. And then we then train them on entrepreneurial skills, how to run effective businesses before we disburse. And after disbursing, we then do monitoring and evaluation to make sure that we're tracking real time how many businesses that business is affecting, how many people that business has employed, and what is the entrepreneurial benefit of that one business that started in this locality or the business or the environment where they've started.
Well, does SMEDAN have the required number of staff? Because from what you're saying, you need so many people to be able to do the disbursement, the training, the follow up and everything. Do you have such a large number of
we have a good amount of employees, and one of the things that we're doing is also trying to hire so that all our state offices are manned. But one of the things that we're very open to at SMEDAN is collaborations. So which is why we started a business development service provider program, where people who are in Lego business, who are accountants, who are bookkeepers, come to us as SMEDAN. We certify them. We have two institutions, one in the south, which is the Lagos Business School, and one in the north, which is the Kaduna Business School. As time goes on, we're going to get more institutions that certify these people. They come to us, and then we do some interview, and they sign an oath that they don't abuse privileged information that they get from the clients. And then we deploy them into the field as some of our partners in the different local governments to make sure that they help small businesses start, help these small businesses with the problems that they do, and then help small businesses scale. We also have international organizations. We're open to a lot of collaborations because we know that it's a tough job and we can't do it alone. And we're not oblivious of the fact that we can't do it alone. So we're open to collaborations and we're open to partnerships, and that's how we're going to run SMEDAN.
Okay, and in line with the training aspect you just spoke about, what about the provision? Are there provisions rather for legal structure, how to handle taxation, and also intellectual property, which we get to see a lot of business owners, small business owners, fall into that trap because they don't understand or they don't know, they don't have the know-how on how these things work. Is there provision for training in that aspect? Because you're doing something that is your identity. How are you protecting your intellectual property?
Thank you so much. I think that excluding government support, one of the other things that small businesses need is intellectual property protection. So in our trainings, we also train on that as well. And then with our business development service providers, we have some legal practitioners who train on this. And we've launched our weekly business clinics. So anyone can send an email to us on what it is that they have problems with. And then almost immediately we will identify the right government agency, the right private agency to come into our office, to meet with this person, connect them with them, and then make sure that their problems are solved. So that we're just doing this so that these small businesses have the support that they need. Because many times small businesses feel and they see government as an enemy. Government is an enabler. We're trying to enable them for success. And we're putting them on the right road path, that if they follow through, they will get a lot of success and prosperity on that road path.
Okay, I'm actually curious. I want to know how, daunting it can be for you handling all of this. It can be overwhelming, especially when the numbers keep trickling in. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll pick up with our conversation. Stay tuned.
What are we doing as a nation to first of all settle our teeming populace, especially the
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene? I'm Fisa Ogunfuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their.
In fact, between June 1st and July 17, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
A method for digital literacy is a bot that you can use, you can interact to learn more about digital literacy.
Hello, it's our pleasure to have you join us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguwele.
What is the yardstick for measuring everybody's moral integrity? It's critical at this point in time.
How daunting has that been for the Institute in getting them abreast with all the legislative procedures?
The fact remains that one training workshop is not enough.
Welcome back. Good to know you there. The conversation is still on MSMEs and job creation. We have Mr. Charles Odi very much around. Mr. Charles, I was just going to ask you how overwhelming it could be for you. This is just how many months into it. You've already streamlined strategies, how you want to get going. But very critical is still the issue of awareness, and because we're not just doing these for MSMEs to just thrive at home, but to be at a competitive level globally for Nigeria. You want to look at the economic benefits back home for us. If we want to look at these micro businesses, how they can move to medium enterprises, what is in place for them really? What is the agency doing to help ensure that they are well coordinated, they're well packaged and put together? Because some of these businesses want to export to other clients.
So we have different training programs that we do. So a small business, for instance, who's a small-scale farmer, will first of all be looking at local consumption, and then when you met the local demand, then you can now start thinking about exports. And so those that are thinking about exports, we know that they can't be exports without access. Yeah. So the first thing that we're doing is democratizing access to markets. So their products can leave the shores of Nigeria and then make it into the other countries in Africa before leaving the shores of Africa. So we're teaching them on how to better package that product, because there are different standardizations for different countries. Yeah. Some countries want it packaged in a certain way, some countries want the products that are seasoned, some want products that are raw. So we help them with that kind of standardization. Beyond that kind of standardization, we're also having a lot of meetings with foreign organizations to make sure that when they are ready, their products leave the shore of Nigeria to the countries where they want to go to. We have begun conversation with countries like Kenya. We've begun conversations with countries out of Africa like India. We've even begun conversations with the U.S. government, so that when Nigerian businesses have been taught, right, and they're ready, the access for their products into the countries that they want to go to is already set for them.
Okay, I just wanted to talk about the challenges. I know you mentioned a few of them, like lack of information, meaning that some of these micro businesses don't even have information. What other challenges are you facing as the DG of SMEDAN, or let's say what challenges is SMEDAN facing?
So right now, the first challenge that we're facing as SMEDAN, I think, is the same challenge that all government institutions are facing. I'm trying to make sure that they bridge that gap within government, because I said before, government is doing a lot, but the people are not informed. Bridge that gap between government and its audience, and government and its constituents, so that the people who should benefit from what government intervention is doing is a part of it. And also I say to small businesses that they need to come out and actually make sure that their voices are heard, because it is when we know the problems that we can then meticulously design solutions to meet those problems. So don't just be an isolated player. Come out, be known in your ecosystem, be known in your cluster, be known in your cooperative, so that you can contribute to policies that can help to advance those cooperatives. In terms of the small business owners, like I had explained earlier, many of them lack the technical know-how, which is why we're here as an organization, as an agency, to help them, upskill them with whatever skill that they need, and then help them with global best practices to start, run, and scale their businesses.
This MSME Survival Fund, the president has suspended social investment programs. Yes. So, but the MSME survival fund, is it suspended as well, or is still running?
The conditional grant scheme is not suspended.
Okay.
We have beneficiaries from even yesterday who have received payment in the FCT. We're going to go to Yobe soon, Anambra, Delta, Oshun. We're making sure that everyone, and my goal when you come into those programs, right, is that I make sure that they shut the door. Everybody in that room gets their payment. Until everybody gets their payment before we allow the bankers go. What we do is we identify bankers.
Yes, I witnessed it during the
yes.
I was there.
Yeah, so I shut the door.
Make sure all the beneficiaries got their money.
Yeah, so I asked that because...
Which is good. Something new, we're saying.
It's a good thing because many times that's where the problem is.
Yes.
Where the people who are supposed to benefit from government are not benefiting from government, then everyone then asks themselves what's going on. Because it's trust and transparency.
They do the symbolic disbursement.
Yeah. And then after that, they go and then the beneficiaries say they've not seen anything.
So we shut the door. I asked them, have you received the money? They said no, they haven't received the money. I asked the banker, have you received the money in your account? They said yes. And then I said, so what's the problem? They're like, okay, well, some of them have not rectified their accounts. And so we shut it down. And we did the rectification. And everybody went home with their 50,000 naira, not 1 naira short. And then afterwards, they got ATM cards so they can start to access the money. And I think that it is only when the bottom of the pyramid feel the effect that the president has designed for it to feel, that's when we can have economic activities at the grassroots level. Imagine 1,300 people in each local government getting financing to run and scale their businesses. Imagine the ripple effect in the economy. And I thank the president so much for that. I can't be more grateful.
And also in the area of enabling, especially locally manufactured products, to thrive at every level, there are issues that can be addressed. I know you mentioned the National Council for the MSMEs that was launched by the Vice President last year, which I know you're the secretary of that council, and part of its mandate is to come up with policies, reforms, and all of that. We still have gaps in the area of trade reforms, physical monetary aspect also. If you want this locally manufactured goods to thrive, you have to address those bottlenecks. Now, is the council going to look at, policies, come up with policies that will be friendly for these businesses?
Absolutely. The council will get all the problems and then advise government on all the policies that it needs to enact into law that will address the problems. So for instance, the problem of, like you've said, local manufactured goods, we can then go to the government to say, Mr. President, what is happening right now is that our local manufactured goods are not taking preeminence on the national stage. What we need to do is, shut the borders on 1, 2, 3, 4 goods, or increase the tariffs on 1, 2, 3, 4 goods, so that everyone in that subsector who is manufacturing locally can then start to get a lot of patronage. And so if you want to bring it from out of the country to Nigeria, then you'll be paying so much more. And then we're hoping that even the more that you pay, we take some of those funds and then help to develop local businesses. So that, imagine that we take brake pads, for instance, for a car, right? A Toyota brake pad. We have local manufacturers that are making Toyota brake pads, right? And then you keep importing the Toyota brake pads. Then the local manufacturers' businesses will suffer. So what we can then do in that instance is go to Mr. President and say, Mr. President, please, these local brake pads are 4,000 naira. The ones that come into Nigeria is about 4,000 naira. Let's just increase the price for the imported ones, right? Increase the price for the imported ones to like 20,000 naira. And so what would then happen is that people will be forced to use the local brake pads. And so out of that 20,000 naira, we can then say, Mr. President, please give us 20% of that money, 4,000 naira from that money, to help to develop the economy, help to develop the subsectors of those making local brake pads. So what we're doing is, one, we're driving patronage and increased patronage for the local brake pads manufacturers in Nigeria, and also we have money to help develop the subsector, so that in the long run, you won't even have to look out to import. If we can do it locally, it will be to the global best standard, and then to fit for the purpose that it was designed for.
That aside, there are other goods. I know we have a lot of great innovators in Nigeria, inventors, in terms of standard, quality. which cannot be compromised. Are you putting a check to that while you're helping these businesses grow?
Yes. So
I know you talked earlier. You're collaborating with SON, NAFDAC, and the rest of them.
So SON helps with standardization, NAFDAC and ISLAC helps with those kind of regulations. But what we're also doing is that in our trainings, we're training for global best practices, so that by the time that you go and you manufacture the product, you won't have any issues getting standardization from SON or getting NAFDAC approval. In those cases where it is a factor of funds, what we're also doing is already talking to these agencies on standardization and on regulations, so you see how we can help reduce the prices, or more importantly, see how we can help speed up the process for regulation, so that we don't have small businesses who get discouraged. And I give you an instance: if it takes 1 year for you to get a NAFDAC number as a small business owner, you can get discouraged.
Yeah.
So one of the things we want to do is also help to speed up that. Also with regulation, with formalizing your business with the CAC, just making sure that the process is sped up, so that the time that you spend with those regulators is very, very small, and then you can continue to focus on the product and focus on the business that you're doing. So that's why you see that we're going out, shaking hands with MEPC, shaking hands with CAC, shaking hands with NAFDAC, just so that we can help our small businesses with the government regulatory part. Because we don't want government to be a blocker as well. We want to take out government regulation as a blocker, so that small businesses can have the ease of doing business across Nigeria.
I remember Moplang, the report you did when they commissioned the SMEDAN headquarters.
Yeah.
There was one of the ladies who complained about late certification from NAFTA.
Yes, that's true.
I remember. Go ahead.
But I want to talk about something else, just to take us a bit out. Looking at the MSMES week coming up in June. I understand you are already making plans towards celebration of the week. What are the plans?
So because space will be limited, one of the things that we want to do is showcase the best out of Nigeria.
When you say space will be limited, where?
Because what we would have loved to do was showcase all the products in all the 774 local governments.
Here in Abuja,
yes,
in the headquarters.
In the headquarters.
Okay.
So what we do is digitally, all the products in the clusters and the communities will showcase, but it would be nice to have from Abuja to Zamfara in a physical room where the best products. So instead of going one local government, one product, we can go one state, one product. So we can get the governors to sponsor the products that they would like to see exported. And then we have, if possible, His Excellency the President come to inspect the products from SMEs across Nigeria. And then those products, we think that will make their shares out of Nigeria into Africa and the global world.
Okay, so because of the lack of space, what are you going to do?
Because of lack of space, we're going to go digital. So if you're looking, for instance, we have something called SMEDAN Select. So if you're looking for sesame seeds, for instance, you just type sesame seeds. All the states and all the local governments where you can find sesame seeds online will be there available for you. But if sesame seeds is the product that the Niger state government wants to put forward, we'll get those ones to come physically to be inspected, and then help to not just be beyond the inspection, help to harness sesame seeds to be exported out of Nigeria.
I know you're technology inclined based on your background and where you're coming from. Are you also leveraging the cyberspace? Because we have a lot of businesses that thrive online. Some people don't have a shop, but their business is online. So are you also harnessing that aspect of businesses?
So I say to businesses that they should leverage technology, not for the sake of it, but because they need to. But we look at scale. We have about 40 million small businesses in Nigeria. We can't scale without technology. So many of our programs will now even be leveraging technology.
Yeah.
Because if you take this studio, for instance, even if we fit people like sardine, the amount of people that can fit this studio, maybe like 1,000 or 2,000, or the studio is very big. But imagine that with the click of a mouse, we can be speaking to 10,000 people online. So if we want scale, it's only technology that can drive that kind of scale, and that we are very confident about that. And so that's why we're looking in that direction to scale any business. We're also, helping with that's scale as an agency, but scale as a small business as well. If they want to scale, they have to leverage technology. And leverage technology for most of the things that they do. Leverage technology for bookkeeping, leverage technology for legal services, leverage technology for human resource management. Just leverage technology, because it's only with that we can, see a measurable amount of scale.
Mr. Odi, very important, eligibility of this targeted beneficiaries. I know a lot of young people who will hear you speak today will be excited. Oh, there's something fresh and new for us. But really, you don't want your website overclouded or overwhelmed, and you don't want to have numbers of people who don't understand what it takes, to be part of this or be a participant. Now, what is the eligibility? Like, what is the criteria? Is it every person who just have a business idea, or really, what is the target?
Yes, so for nano businesses, these are businesses that are doing, to be very magnanimous, less than $1 million naira per month, right? These are businesses that their turnover in a month will be less than 50,000, 100,000. So imagine that it gets 50% injection into their business on what their working capital is. It will help with the transformation of the business. So what we're looking for in terms of the conditional grant scheme, we're looking for those businesses at the bottom of the pyramid. And eligibility for anyone is the national identity system.
Yeah.
So you must have a national identity number, which is the NIN. And it is only with that number that we can help to track. So for instance, if we come today and we say we have given out 500 million naira, if you didn't get it, or you don't know anyone who got it, you ask, who are the people that got this money? But if you can bring out a national identity number to say, listen, go through this, these are the people that have gotten it, you can just take 2 or 3 numbers at random and then look at it and then maybe make a call to them and say, did you get this money? So that's the way that we can actually even help for transparency and to help for monitoring and evaluation. If you see every Nigerian, they may not have BVNs, but they should have national identity number. That's the only way that we can see that you are actually a Nigerian. Remember I said earlier that society does not know you unless you are registered.
Exactly.
Somebody can be existing right here. If the person doesn't have NIN, doesn't have BVN, doesn't have a passport, doesn't have anything, society does not recognize that person. But the person might not need a passport if they don't need to travel. The person might not need a BVN if they don't need to transact with the bank. But they need to have an NIN number. So the common denominator is NIN. So if you have an NIN number, that's the lowest eligibility to get it.
Very quickly, Mr. Odi, before I ask you another final question, are you comfortable or confident with the funding SMEDAN is getting? Or you're looking out for more funding? You talked about partners from the international community and all of that.
So
because the way you're outlining your programs, you sound so comfortable and confident with the funds available.
No. So we need more funds.
Okay.
We need more funds. And I'll tell you what we need the funds for.
Okay.
SMEDAN has 23 industrial development centers, right?
Yeah.
When it was created in 2003, we handed over these industrial development centers. If you visit the industrial development centers, not a lot is going on there. So we need to revamp those industrial development centers. I visited the one in Benue a few last week with His Excellency the Vice President. A lot of work and remodeling is happening there, and then by the time we're done, we can start to address a lot of problems.
Yeah.
We need to revitalize those industrial development centers. We need to get more funds to lend to small businesses, and we need funds to develop other programs in terms of getting small businesses to have long-term financing.
All right.
I know we have to go, but I will just make this point.
Yeah, because no plan.
Yes, I even have one question, but maybe plan.
Go ahead.
Okay, I
so you just smile all of that.
All right. So I just wanted to ask, do you have a specific number of MSMEs you are targeting for this year, 2024, and perhaps for the next 4 years? And
we'll just tie that to your vision for MSMEs.
So
very quickly,
our vision basically is a Grow Nigerian vision. Apart from the NIN, which is our unique identifier, if you ask every Nigerian is entrepreneur. If I ask you, Ruth, I've got 100,000 naira for you to cook for me today. If you're not doing anything else, you close the business, you take the money and you cook and send it to my house. It means that you have got different other things that you can do. The person who drives me can also be a gardener, can also be a security person. So Nigerians are talented. Nigerians are entrepreneur by nature. Right? So what we want to do is to grow Nigerian. So we're going to be unleashing a Grow Nigerian roadmap where anyone, anywhere who meets this roadmap can meet prosperity. So it's like a journey to prosperity. Which was what I was saying. The nano businesses, when they meet SMEDAN, they prosper. The medium businesses, when they meet SMEDAN, they prosper. So that roadmap will be unveiling. And so Grow Nigerian will then metamorphose to different other things, like Eat Nigerian, for our food and agricultural businesses. Wear Nigerian, for our skin, for our hide, leather, fashion businesses. Visit Nigeria, listen Nigeria, for podcasts, for our music, patronize Nigeria for our services business. We'll be unleashing that roadmap. And in terms of how many businesses that we like to reach this year, we would like to reach 1 million businesses. We would like to have funded 1 million businesses and trained 1 million businesses this year.
All right. Wish you the very best, Mr. Charles Odi. You've come with a renewed hope, vigor, which we're already seeing you demonstrating. So all the best. We want to see those businesses you talked about grow, actually. Thank you so much. Mr. Charles Odi is the Director General, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, that is SMEDAN. Muplank Dakog, our business correspondent, thank you so much for your contribution on platform.
Always my pleasure, Ruth.
You're welcome. All right, we've been looking at MSMEs and job creation. There's a really lot we can harness if only we look within. Like Mr. Charles said, let's eat what is ours, let's grow what is ours, let's buy Nigeria, and let's be Nigerians. And that's platform. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.